when we're thinking about this as a trade idea setting up, we're looking at this idea here that's still not want to be long above 72. But I did manage a long above 71.50. Now, that's obviously a long above 72, but obviously if we go back to last night's oil trades, you can see that this is moving into last night's oil trades here. Where is it? Here it is here. So this is obviously 11:30 last night. Dollar strength acting as a headwind for to further upside progress. Demand is decent, but not that strong. I won't be found bidding above 72. So we'll see if I get incentivized to offer the 72s into the Brent Open. So that's my macro view in the market, was that we wanted to sell above that 72. I'm certainly never going to be a buyer above 72 in the present situation. I do not want to be a buyer above 72. And obviously, based on that as a storyline, you can obviously see what happened next. It did go above 72. We bought into 72s and we got above the break for the measure. But since then, of course, the selling opportunities have been there. And I know that certainly a lot of the guys in the room have been working short selling into 72s. And they've obviously been well paid for that by dropping the price down quite nicely on the last little spike sweep lower. So well done, guys. If you can read and act on those trade ideas, those scenarios, and you agree with them, of course, then that's very, very, very important to us. And it's paid out very handsomely as well. Forex. Let's think about what we were talking about on Forex. Damn pity, isn't it? Damn pity. Why is it a damn pity? Because you can see what happened here. There's a lot at stake with today's cut pinning 144 in the dollar yen. And if spot drops below, dealers will need to unwind a sizable short dollar hedge across the euro dollar and dollar yen, leading to a dollar bid. So we had this idea that we were going to see these dollar bids coming in. Note as well that the 145 touted as a BOJ intervention level. That's not in play at the moment. But we had this idea that we were expecting dollar bids this afternoon. We were expecting to see the dollar being bought. And we know if the dollar's getting bought against pretty much the rest of the market, that's generally going to be a kind of negative day for today, isn't it? It's got a kind of negative bias, because if your betas are dropping in line with a dollar rally, then of course that means that there's probably going to be pressure on bonds on the sell side. There's going to be pressure on equities on the sell side, and possibly pressure on oil and gold on the sell side as well, as that dollar catches a bid. But obviously, because of that data release, all the buyers came into the dollar early. So you can see what happened to this top edge. All the buyers came into the dollar early. They've driven the price already. They've already taken the price offered, and it's kind of screwed up the big opportunity of making a lot of money into that trade there. So it's just one of those things, isn't it? It's one of those things, guys. Unfortunately, it played out that way, and we just have to accept that sometimes happens. Anyway, so welcome in, guys. I hope you're all good this morning. A trade balance in Australia in the overnight session came in a little bit better than expected by $1 billion. The underlying narrative this morning from the German factory orders was pretty good. We saw 6.4% against a forecast of just 1.1%. So a good pop on German factory orders, a welcome relief from some of the terrible numbers that we've seen across Europe and the UK recently. So UK construction PMIs did drop into contraction territory, 48.9 from 51.6. We've had some supply coming into the markets from the Japanese, the Spanish, and the French. And then, of course, we had the European retail sales month on month coming in flat against the forecast of a rise of 0.2%. ADP numbers have just come out, of course, 497,000. The forecast was for just 226,000. So it wasn't just better than expected. It was better than prior, because the expected was lower than prior. And therefore, this became a little bit of a shock to the system when you get a number that's a lot better than expected. And that's why we've seen that continuation drive across the market so far on the likes of your bond shorts and your gold shorts as well. Then that continuation drive has obviously just stuck a bit of a cord into that as a trade opportunity. Now, obviously, the overall shape of this, the good news for us was that we actually had a gold offer watch, and we were able to get a little swing at some gold shorts We were looking for the trade. We got the trade. We nailed the trade. So take a look at the trade itself, and you can see for yourself here. So there's the trade there. So we started to see some supply coming into the NASDAQ. Nothing to do with the trade I'm talking about here, but obviously there's the gold offer watch coming in there. 1244 and 1242. In other words, ahead of the data, right? In other words, ahead of the data. And we can recognize what happened in those trades. Well, the sell trade was at 1934, top line shorts, 1934. Remember, it was a measured move against our previous buy trade from earlier. So it was a measured move against that trade earlier. And you can see the timing on this. There's the 1240 trade there. There's the 1240 trade. Right, so there it is there. So we can already recognize this, the setup. We can recognize the timing on our charts. We can recognize the value. And obviously that 34 shorts just made $2,000 per contract. And that was pretty close to spectacular, of course, which is nice. Which is nice. Just as a complete picture on this, we have had a bid watch on the gold as well, just at the bottom line there. So just so you know, for completeness, that we did have a bid watch coming back into the markets on the drop there at 13, 14, and 15 for the gold to catch a little cheeky bid on the reversal. So a nice opportunity for you to use that as a bag and tag, perhaps. So you can obviously see the reversal trade. I'll just post it there. So there's the reversal coming in at the low edge there. And you can see gold went into a bid watch at 13, 14, 15. And of course, that's just on this candle, isn't it? So that's basically the candle that's just dropped in, the big old drop candle into that balance area. And obviously, bid watch doesn't mean buy it. It means you're looking for any sign of a buyer showing up on the book. You're looking for that delta absorption area. So you're starting to use that as your exit, not an entry. And, and the reason why I'm using it as an exit rather than an entry is because it was a sizable beat. It's a kind of number that could have follow-through consequences. It is a possible paradigm shifting number, isn't it? Bearing in mind that everybody's now going to be thinking about that based on what's going to happen tomorrow. So it does have the ability to take buyers away from gold for the next 24 hours. That's why this is not a buy trade, in my opinion. That's why this trade here is not something you go into and say, right, get me long into that as a storyline. It is an exit because of the possible paradigm shift nature, especially on the basis that we've obviously got the non-farms tomorrow. And therefore, I am not happy about starting to look around for dragging into some bids at the bottom edges. And that's something, again, that you'd be paying attention to as a trader. So anyway, next up, of course, in 2 minutes, we've got the Canadian trade balance numbers. And we've got the Canadian trade balance numbers. We've got the unemployment claims from the US. We've got the trade balance numbers from the US as well. And then tonight, of course, we've got the 2:45 p.m. final services PMIs, the ISM services PMIs, and the JOLTS job openings, all of which are now taking on extra importance based on that ADP non-farm employment change. And it is an important number. It is a very accurate number because ADP, one of the big payroll services across the states, know exactly how many people are being added or taken out of their payroll system. And therefore, they have a very accurate view of what's going on in the employment space, remember. So it is an important number, a very important number. And it's obviously had quite a big impact. So obviously, that's going to lead us into the non-farms tomorrow. Data coming out in 10 seconds, guys. Well, we were right about the gold. I did suggest I would expect to see a bit of follow through on that number, and we have seen that follow through, of course, when the buyers did come in and take profits here. Obviously, it offered an opportunity to short sell back into that gold for the trade lower, so that's pretty useful.